And we're learning new details about one of those men sent to CICOT, who is now back in Venezuela. ProPublica detailing the case of Jose Manuel Ramos Bastidas, who came to the U.S. legally in 2024 using a government app. A judge denied his asylum case, and he remained in detention. When the new Trump administration began rolling out its mass deportation agenda, Ramos panicked, according to the report. His wife even recorded a video call with him in which he held up a document that he says is proof that immigration authorities agreed to just go ahead and deport him back to his home country of Venezuela. A day after that call, Ramos was sent to CICOT in El Salvador. And joining us now is Stephanie Alvarez-Jones. She is the Southeast Regional Attorney at the National Immigration Project, which represents Jose Manuel Ramos Bastidas. Stephanie, thanks for being here. Have you been able to contact Jose, and how did you find out he'd been sent back to Venezuela?
Thank you so much for having me today. Yes, I have been in contact with Mr. Ramos Bastidas. He's now home with his family in Venezuela. And as for how we found out, unfortunately, our team found out just like everyone else by seeing the news, by seeing reports that something was happening, that there was going to be a prisoner exchange last week on Friday.
What did he say when you talked to him?
We haven't had a lot of time to touch base. As you can imagine, these Mr. Ramos Bastidas and these men have not been home in Mr. Ramos' case over a year. And so he's taking time to decompress with his family. And also, of course, they've been through unimaginable trauma that we just don't fully understand. But he has expressed that he is thrilled to be home. He has also expressed that he felt like that was a great deception, that they were told that they were going to be sent back to Venezuela. He had this hope that he was going to be back home soon. His family was waiting for him. And instead, he was sent to CICOT.
We just saw the image there of him hugging his family as they were reunited there in Venezuela. The Washington Post has revealed some of the harrowing details shared by people who were detained in CICOT. Writing, in the 4 months they spent there, the detainees said that they were beaten repeatedly with wooden bats. One man says he was robbed of thousands of dollars and denied access to lawyers or a chance to call his family. Another man said he was hit so hard he lost half a molar. And listen to what yet another detainee told Sky News.
We were constantly beaten. We suffered physical, verbal, and psychological abuse. There wasn't a day where the wardens didn't tell us that the only way we'll leave that place was if we were dead. In fact, the first words that the head of the prison said to us after the first beating was, "Welcome to hell."
What's your reaction to that, and what else are you hearing?
That's consistent with, the little bit that I've been able to speak with Mr. Ramos about his experience there, that it was an experience that he never expected. And, in his words, he would never wish on anyone else, that they suffered tremendously. The beatings, like you mentioned, the sleep deprivation. They were told that they were sentenced to 30 to 90 years in detention in CICOT. And the only way to get out was if President Trump said it was okay to do so.
Given what he experienced in CICOT, because the U.S. government sent him there, is there any legal recourse or anything anyone can do to seek accountability?
I think those are our next steps that, the families and the individuals that represent families like Mr. Ramos Bastidas, like us, are thinking through. I think in the immediate, these individuals need time to be with their families and recover. But absolutely, there needs to be some accountability. What this was a U.S. government paid for torture of these 252 men for 125 days at a notorious prison. And we need to understand exactly how this was arranged to ensure that this doesn't happen again.
Stephanie Alvarez-Jones, thank you for being with us. Please
Thank you.
Stay in touch as you learn more and plan next steps.